Hello and welcome. My name is Angel Even, and I will be facilitating today's workshop on Intro to Entrepreneurship. A little bit about me before I dive into the content and what you can expect over the next several slides that I'll be walking through with you all today. First off, I'm a coach. I'm a founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Led by Truth that supports emerging entrepreneurs of color. And the biggest thing that I love about the work that I do is growing the humans behind every and each business that I've supported over the years. And the biggest thing that I love covering with entrepreneurs, especially those that are at the idea stage or those that or have launched and are working on really sustaining and building a strong, financially stable business, is the basics around entrepreneurship and the basics around how do you evaluate and validate your idea over time. So during today's workshop on Intro to Entrepreneurship, we're going to be covering Entrepreneurship 101. These are going to be the basics of best practice of getting started, as well as continuing to evaluate your market, evaluating what's possible. How do you evolve and flush out your ideas over time? And navigating the ecosystem, what are the resources that are at your fingertips that you can dive into? And I hope that throughout the time that you are with me, that it can help you really to sit, pause, and reflect on your business idea and the next steps of getting it moving and building your momentum. Now, before we dive in, I always love to start every conversation with a place of inspiration. So feel free, take out your phone, scan this QR code. It's going to redirect you to a website that generates affirmations. You don't need to come up with anything yourself. It will do the job for you. But that little spark of inspiration can be that motivation to get you through that next milestone, that next hurdle, that next barrier that might be in front of you. So take some time, scan the QR code, and soak in the affirmations that have been generated for you, reflect on what it sparks within you, and I hope it sparks some inspiration to carry you forward today. But now let's dive in. We're going to dive into Entrepreneurship 101. Now, throughout this next section, I'm really going to be covering a lot on some fundamentals, but let's do some grounding. Let's do a quick gut check. Where are you right now in your journey? And maybe that journey is just you wrote down an idea on a piece of paper and you're just exploring the possibility of what it could mean and take and feel like to own a business. Or maybe you're in this number two phase, right? You're beyond that exploring, and now you're really trying to understand your idea, understand like, well, what does this mean to be a business owner? Maybe you're evaluating that next step to register your business. Or you're at that three stage. You for sure are wanting to start a business. You are ready. And so now you are beginning to identify what those resources are in front of you to help you along the way. Or maybe you've already advanced to really diving deeper into your market potential, understanding who your customers are. That might be number four. And number five is you're ready to launch. You have all the ducks in a row, you have a strong business foundation, and now you're ready to bring your idea into fruition. Whatever stage you're at, just take some time to just like account for that. But let's cover some untold truths about entrepreneurship. Now, the previous slide, this is the exciting part. This is what gets people excited, the idea, the imagining, the envisioning what's possible. But the realities are starting a business is hard. And a lot of times we will miss and navigate around the hard realities of business ownership. But I really want us to be in a place of reality. So let me talk through some facts just to, again, arm yourselves with the information that you need in order to mitigate any of those barriers that could prevent you from being successful. Now, the truth is for small businesses, small business ownership, about 40% of small businesses are profitable. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not bringing in revenue, they are, but it means that they are spending more than what they're bringing in. So profitability is huge, but it can take time for a business to get to a place of turning a profit at the end of the year each month. It really does depend on that cash flow, right? If you're spending more than what you're bringing in, well, again, that 82% of small businesses that fail are due to cash flow issues. And that could be really high overhead. Maybe it's a brick and mortar, a physical space that you're leasing or you own. And that means extra expenses, extra costs, and you really want to make sure that you're on top of your numbers and on top of your marketing game in order to bring in the customers through your door. Another barrier sometimes due to cash flow is payroll. The amount of resources and expenses of those resources in order to keep your operations afloat can be a huge constraint financially for businesses. When you think about even payroll tax, that's about 20% of an employee's annual salary. 20% goes into taxes. So knowing this, knowing that the barriers are tough, and that again, about 80% of businesses have to self-finance. Yes, there might be some grants. Yes, there might be some investors out there that are wanting to invest in businesses, but those are small and few between. 80% of businesses have to self-finance their operations. So that means you might be working a job or two in order to make sure that you personally are good, but you are investing your own income into launching and fueling your business. So in knowing that, how do you ensure that you can develop out a framework and a business model that can be successful without tapping too much and bearing a lot of constraints and barriers on your shoulders? And that's just kind of that business planning basics. So it's really some core concepts. One, market research. You're going to hear me say this a lot throughout our time together. Due diligence. Due diligence is your friend. When I say due diligence, that means market research. If you want to start a business, that means now you're becoming a scholar almost. You're becoming a learner again. It may feel like grade school. It may feel like a lot of research, a lot of documentation, but that is the role that you are playing, that you are choosing to play if you want to be a business owner. You have to understand the operations and you have to now become an expert in your market beyond just the passion that led you to start a business. So understanding your audience, your customer base, understanding the trends in your industry, the downfalls, in order for you to be able to navigate and mitigate any of those barriers that might come your way. Financial planning. Now, I work with a lot of business owners that are not as comfortable or confident when it comes to their finances. And finances are so huge. And if that is an area of a business even on a personal level that you're not comfortable with, your next job, your next action needs to be identifying a resource to help you become more familiar with your numbers, become an expert in your operation. So financial planning is essential, budgeting is essential. We have to anticipate, which means we have to plan, we have to budget for the known as well as potentially the unknown. Legal grounds. So making sure that you understand the legal structure elements of your business, if it's through registering your business, again, with the states, with ensuring that you're getting your tax ID, but also understanding any potential compliance concerns or considerations needed for your business, for your industry. That is going to be essential. So identify those resources and really dive in to knowing what those legal components may be. Networking. A lot of times people don't realize that networking is such a huge aspect around business ownership. If you have ever heard the quote, "Your network is your net worth," that is true. I'm going to say again, your network is your net worth. Social capital is so essential. So networking, you want to leverage it for a couple of different reasons. One, to build a strong community support. It can also help with brand recognition, spreading brand awareness, but also being able to tap in to your network, to your key contacts and stakeholders that you've interacted with, that you're nourishing relationships with. That can help you lead to a new deal, that could help you lead to new clients, new partnerships, or other advancement opportunities. So networking is huge, and being flexible. I work with a lot of type A folks. And so if you are one that likes everything black and white, everything in the order, I'm going to tell you that is unrealistic. Not when it comes to running a business. It is so great. And at the end of the day, as a business owner, as a CEO, as a boss, there's no one telling you what you need to do. You are creating your own leader standard work. You are creating your own set of standards when it comes to your day-to-day operations, what you're focusing on, what you're accomplishing throughout your day. And you have to be flexible because things will come up, and especially at the early stages. Resources are limited, and maybe you are the mighty team of one for a while. And so being flexible, and as well as understanding what your capacity is for the work, for what you can take on, is going to be really important for you. Now, here are the benefits of business planning. I'm going to talk through some anecdotal benefits, but I'm also going to be hitting on some factual benefits that have been proven and shown within the entrepreneur space that business planning can help you achieve X. Now, setting a clear goal. Again, when you're planning your vision for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, year, 5 years, you are setting some tangible milestones that you hope to achieve by when, and here are the activities that are leading up to you being able to achieve it. Resource allocation. Remember when I mentioned that you might be a small but mighty team of one? Understanding your resource needs, starting to budget and factor that in, even if it's for the future. If you can't afford to bring in a social media manager now, that's okay. Understand the cost expense each month and throughout the year, and start factoring in when would you be able to bring that resource and that individual or skill into your organization. Is it at a revenue of X? Is it when you hit X amount of cash flow each month? That might be some indicators for you to realize that you are getting closer to being able to secure a resource, but you need to allocate for one first. You need to account for one first, understanding the expense and begin to plan for it. Risk management. I hear a lot from folks that, Angel, I'm just starting out, there's no risk. Yes, there is. There's a huge amount of risk. It's your time. It's your time, energy, and labor into you running and getting your business off the ground running. And you might also be working another job or 2 or 3. So that might mean financial constraints, capacity constraints, you're being overworked, you're getting burnt out. Those are huge risks. If you are not good with your business, as you're running your business isn't going to be good as well. So it can also be on an individual level that you are mitigating whatever risk that you might be experiencing, if it's capacity constraints or financial constraints, because you're fronting the bill for a while until you can bring in that cash flow, bring in those customers. Another risk could be, well, maybe you have a team, and the risk that you're mitigating is turnover, because the amount of work it takes to recruit, to interview, to hire, to onboard takes months. And if you're seeing staff go out the door, now that is some additional time. It might mean your business is going to be suffering for a while, if it's volume of work produced or quality of work produced. So those might be some risks that you might need to mitigate. Strategic focus. A lot of times we are just so focused in the work that we're doing in the business that we don't realize that part of our roles as business owners is being a CEO. Being a CEO is being strategically focused. So if you're not considering yourself a CEO, if you're not thinking through things strategically, that is a gap right now with where you're at as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So being focused. How do you know you're going to be successful at the end of the year, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter? What are those factors, and what are the steps you're taking to achieve it? Now, the payoff is massive. When I say due diligence pays off, I'm saying due diligence pays off. And what does that mean? A business is 260% more likely to launch and get their business off their ground if that business owner, that founder, has a business plan. Because the planning pieces of a business, it's not just a document. You are envisioning and identifying who your market is. You're evaluating what your market and industry is doing. That's not just done once. That is done constantly throughout the year, throughout months, as you're evaluating, maybe evolving or pivoting your business, you're doing those steps. And so a lot of times I get individuals saying, Angel, I just need this business plan. I need this done in a week. And I have to tell them, then you're not going to be successful. Don't do it then. Because the art of business planning is you're now learning these new skills, these new behaviors as a business owner. You're thinking differently about your business. You're thinking differently about your operations in your market. And you need to now hardwire those new behaviors. That time that you take budgeting, evaluating, identifying those contributing factors that can fuel and provide revenue in your business, that's not just done once, that should be done monthly. The time that you're doing evaluating your customer base, looking to see, what are the feedback on this product or service? Well, why aren't we seeing that same outcome in this other product line or service line? That's not just done once, that's done routinely. So again, muscle memory, you're now learning a new skill, and that skill is being an operator, being a CEO, and business planning helps you get there. Companies with business plans grow 30% faster than those without a plan. I think I probably hit the nail on the head enough about this, but if you anticipate what's to come, you'll see that down the road. So what does good look like? You're doing your research, right? You're becoming a steward of your business, of your brand. You're validating your idea. Sometimes you may have a great idea, but maybe it doesn't work in your market or work for the customers that you're not needed said solution. Are you really solving a problem, and you're solving the right problem? Business modeling. Identifying the different ways of how your business will generate revenue. Is it through B2C, so business to consumer, you're selling directly to the consumer? Is it B2B, business to business, through collaborations, through partnerships is how you are generating revenue, thinking through what that model looks like. Marketing plan. A lot of times people think marketing strategy means social media. Yes, and it also means storytelling, a strong messaging and storytelling campaign. It could also mean doing interviews, journal articles, podcasts, speaking engagements. Sometimes your type of product or industry that you're in requires you to show up differently as a thought leader for your industry, for your brand. So marketing goes beyond social media. And not every marketing strategy works with every business or every industry. So understanding what that looks like for you is going to be really important. Financial projections. I've discussed this quite often, but financial projections, if you're planning and participating as a vendor at a pop-up market, well, what are you anticipating to bring in for revenue, and what are your expenses? Is it even worth it if you're only coming away with $100? I see all the time businesses attend pop-up markets without actually planning for it, anticipating for it. How many sales do you need to have for it to be worth your time? So financial projections should be from a company perspective, but even those other activities that you might be doing, you need to anticipate what the return and investment of your time, your energy, and expenses that you're bringing with, especially if you have product-based businesses. That's money that's sitting at your table. If you're leaving that event or whatever engagement without selling anything, you're losing money, you're depreciating, it's sitting there, right? You need to think through that. An implementation plan. Set targets, know what success looks like for you. And that might be identifying your milestones throughout the year. Each quarter, what are your top 2 to 3 milestones that you hope to achieve that will help you continue to progress through, build momentum with your business, build traction to hit any financial targets at the end of the year, to hit any sales targets, or improve any efficiency within your operations at the end of the year. What are those? Identifying those KPIs as well, so key measures of success. So what does success look like? What do you know you're going to be successful in? Are there internal process issues that you want to evaluate? Are there community and service items, from a number of events, number of partnerships that you've cultivated. So identifying and implementing those strategies and setting timelines, setting measures of success is an aspect of what good looks like. Now, let's shift a little bit. So we covered the basics around just truly the basics on entrepreneurship 101. Now let's talk about how do you evaluate what's possible. And that's going to get into fleshing out your ideas. Now, just because you start off with an idea, again, it could be written on the back of a napkin, on a Post-it, in your head, you need to flesh it out more. So really brainstorming, identifying not only what your skills are, but will said skill, can you turn that into a business? If you can turn it into a business, is there a market for that service or product in your area, within the state, within the region, within your community? And how do you know? So that might mean, again, you're matching your personal skills with your business ideas and identifying, like, is there a need for it? You're researching. You need to understand now the market trends. And a lot of times people always say, Angel, but where do I go? I don't know where to go. Google is your friend, right? Put in Google, market trends, beauty industry, market trends for clean energy. Whatever that is, you should be able to find some tangible and factual, if it's news articles, business journals, or research studies, to help you identify where your market is going and does your solution meet the market needs? Is there a fit? And then document. What is your source of truth, and how do you know where you may need to pivot or modify? So take your ideas out of your head, put it down somewhere, and keep it. You'd be surprised how often you're going to be revisiting that initial or revised document of your business plan. Now, let's say you have an idea, and now it's time to evolve it. Maybe you're evolving because you're not seeing the traction or the market interest with your customer base, or you're identifying, like, oh, in order for me to be competitive, to really have something that differentiates me across from my competitors, I need to evolve my idea. So one way to do it is socializing. I get a lot of times, Angel, you're the only person I told, tell more people. Find a buddy. Now, there could be some, like, IP, so intellectual property concerns with socializing your idea. So, of course, that might mean you may need to have a non-disclosure clause. You may need to have someone sign an agreement not to disclose or discuss your business idea and other aspects of your framework, of your solution. That is fine, but socialize. How are you supposed to get outside of your head if you keep everything inside? So socialize your idea, but not just with yes people. You want individuals that will give you constructive feedback, that will poke holes at your idea, at your business, to allow you to really reflect on, ooh, do they identify a true gap that I need to address? Some of that can be done in focus groups or listening sessions. So you have some pointed questions. You pull in, ideally, your customer base. Sometimes you may want to pull in key individuals that you may want to collaborate with. And maybe you're asking the question as to, well, what's a high end and low end that you would be willing to pay for this type of product? What is the ideal method of delivery for this type of service? Is it virtual? Is it in person? Is it in a group setting? That will help you really begin to define and structure your business model, but also the delivery model of your product or of your service. Test and experiment. Give yourself 30, 60, 90 days to test an aspect of your business model out. But do it with intention in mind. That means you're identifying some core objectives that you hope to see at the end of this trial period. You identified a measure of success, but you also have identified, like, here's what this looks like, here's where we start, here's where we stop, and here's how we're going to study our outcomes. Learn your market. Continue to research, understand where your market is going, what is the next way to innovate your idea, and you might need to phase out your implementation. You may not be able to roll out everything at once. Let's say if you had a product idea that takes a lot of capital, you may not be able to do your full bells and whistle right away, but maybe an aspect of it. Maybe you're not able to roll out a 12-month program, but you could do a workshop to begin to test out the content, test out the quality of the information and resource that you may be giving to your clients. So a phased approach is still successful, even if it doesn't look like the end result that you initially envisioned. Now let's evaluate your readiness. So take out your phone. This should be a very easy, quick quiz. Probably won't take you more than like a minute and a half, if any. But take out your phone, scan the QR code, and you're gonna be redirected to a business readiness quiz. Now this quiz, especially if you're at the idea stage, which we'll walk through that kind of pathway next. But if you're at the idea stage, it will assess kind of your mindset, any capital considerations, resource considerations, but also your business understanding in order to provide you with some good insights as to here are the next steps to again mitigate, to anticipate, or prepare you to launch or grow your business. I hope you all had a chance to scan the QR code, but here are some of the outcomes, especially for those that are at the idea stage or pre-revenue. If you may have scored not ready, and not ready really recommends that you focus in on the gaps before starting your business. And some ways to improve that is really improving the financial aspect. You may need to save up more money because your idea might take additional capital, additional finances to get off the ground and running. It could also be your mindset. This is scary. It is okay to be scared. It's okay to be anxious about this idea. You are most likely taking a leap somewhere. You could be the only one in your family or in your friend circle or support circle that is thinking about starting a business or even has a business. And it can be a scary and overwhelming place. So how do you arm yourself? Because every day you're your own motivational factor. So if fear is going to prevent you from moving forward, you may not be ready yet. You may need to address why this fear is originating first. So that mindset, developing out a growth mindset is really important. Building your business understanding. Remember when I said earlier, you need to become a scholar? You need to be a scholar when it comes to your business. You need to become an expert of your business. So maybe taking some training classes, if it's on accounting 101, if it's on marketing strategies, or even your industry. Getting into even clean energy can probably feel exciting, but there's so much to learn. So diving into informative workshop, educational courses to help you become that expert is going to be important. And then find those resources, maybe resources to help you along the way, or resource that you need to build into your infrastructure of your business. Maybe you scored somewhat ready. Now, you might have some of the capital needed or some money in reserves maybe on a personal note because you know you're going to be taking a decreased salary as you're growing your business. Whatever that is, you might be in a place where you're building some decent foundation, but you need to strengthen it a little bit. That might mean your financial understanding, that might mean evaluating some cost savings strategies and tactics with your business. That could be, in order to be profitable, you need to cut down on your product expenses a little bit so you can maximize that profit per product or per service. Your mindset, you're starting to get more comfortable and confident, but maybe you still have some self-doubt. Maybe you still have a slight fixed mindset and saying, this is impossible because unless I'm given this opportunity, nothing's going to happen. We have to figure out a way to make those opportunities happen for ourselves. So continuing to hone in on that mindset, set realistic expectations can be important. Continue to improve your business understanding. And that might be focusing on some of your weaknesses. Again, weakness could be maybe your business requires you to have a team, but you may not feel as comfortable or confident as a leader to be able to lead that team forward. So how do you start becoming a mentor, becoming a leader, and really leaning into that role? Because it's more than just looking at time cards. You're nurturing and growing other humans to be as invested as you are in your business. And that takes skill, that takes time and dedication. Resource needs. Maybe there are some resources that you need, and more so just like professional support and assistance, maybe a business coach or a business mentor. Identifying who those are and the type of coach or mentor that really resonates with you. You know the type of environment you will invest in. So now this is the time to identify those resources and the spaces that will really help you flourish. Maybe you are fully ready, which is exciting. So let's go. And one of those things, maybe because you're starting to build a strong foundation already, you've already have a good understanding around the financial considerations needed to grow and launch and scale your business. Maybe you've started to identify the resources and are tapping into their knowledge and their support. And you're starting to grow that growth mindset. You're seeing hurdles as challenges, good challenges, but you're finding a way to navigate around them or mitigate any potential risks that may be in front of you. If you're fully ready, great. Now, here are some next steps that I want all of you to do, no matter where you are with your business readiness. Take some time and really reflect on how you can get yourself ready. Are you solving the right problem? So really evaluate the problem, your solution, and does it fit in the market? And that might be drafting a plan to validate. Are you going to do a focus group? Are you going to do some testing and sampling of your product or your services to get and gather feedback? Are you going to just experiment a little bit? Give yourself 90 days, test it out, or a phased approach to implement, whatever that is. Identify what your plan is, and begin to identify the action steps to move the work forward and continue to get yourself ready. Now, where do you go from here? Network and learn your market. Due diligence, people, due diligence. Continue to explore clean energy opportunities. Again, like deepen your engagement with Grid Catalyst. Tap into the emerging clean energy technology and market trends. And as well as further develop your idea. So refine your concepts by considering the feedback from those focus groups, your market research, and continue to enhance your value proposition to meet your identified needs of your consumer base, of your market and industry, and identify any additional resources. So that might mean scout for and engage with mentors, industry experts, potential investors. Again, your network is your net worth. And the more that you immerse yourself in your industry, in the community, in the small business space, the better prepared that you will be, as well as the better tapped in you're going to be as well. Well, I hope that we can all stay in touch. So feel free to follow me on my socials or schedule a no-cost consultation, especially if you feel like, oh, I have this idea. Now I might need help navigating some of these additional resources. But if you do have any other questions, feel free to follow up with Grid Catalyst and Nina and team. They are a wealth of knowledge, especially if you are interested in the clean energy space. They are your go-to experts to help you navigate, as well as are hosting a host of different workshops throughout the year to get you tapped in, to help you learn about the industry, but also get connected to the right resources to get you off the ground ready, running, and get business ready. So with that, thank you so much for your time. And I hope this workshop on Intro to Entrepreneurship gives you a little bit more clarity on what you need to get business ready. Thank you.